Matthew chapter 20, Jesus tells us a parable of the workers in the vineyard. A landowner went out at the beginning of the day to hire workers to come and work in his vineyard. Then throughout the day, he went and hired more workers, those that were standing idle in the marketplace, it says, continually until the end of the day. At the end of the day, these workers were called to be paid their wages. And he paid the same amount to those that were hired at the very end of the day to those who were hired at the beginning of the day. Now, the workers, obviously, at the beginning of the day, they weren't happy with this, and they started to complain to the landowner. And he says, "What have I done wrong? Did we not agree? Did I not agree on a price to pay you for your work for the day?" When you look at this parable, I really like it because maybe we can think to start off with that, well, God is unfair. Does this mean that God is not fair in how he rewards us? But we need to know in our hearts that God is fair. We need to establish the fact that there's no unrighteousness or darkness or evil in God. It tells us in Psalms chapter 9, verse 8, "He shall judge the world in righteousness, and he shall administer judgment for the people in uprightness." We know that God is fair. I don't think God is wanting to show us here that he doesn't know how to judge properly, that he's unfair in the way that he rewards his children. Rather, I think Jesus was trying to expose the evil intents of our heart sometimes, even as we serve him. He says in verse 15, the landowner says, "Or is your eye evil because I am good?" Let's have a look at what this parable actually says. Can we not say that it's a picture of God's great mercy and unending love in the way that the landowner went out again and again throughout the day to hire workers that it tells us were standing idle in the marketplace? How Jesus longs and hopes for people to come to him to salvation right up until the last minute. It's a picture of God's heart for salvation. But it's true. There are people that are called and chosen to serve him. And that's the difference I want to make. There's almost a difference that Jesus makes in this parable between those that were hired first and those that were hired later on in the day. The ones that were hired at the beginning, it says that the landowner agreed upon a price for them to be paid for a day's work. Have we maybe forgotten our first love when Jesus called us to follow him? We can't forget that we were called to follow him, not for the rewards or anything, but counting the cost, losing our lives and giving our life to him for what he's done for us. Jesus knows how to give us the rewards that are due to us. Jesus knows how to take care of each one of us. It says that he knows the number of hairs on each one of our heads. We can also see that in verse 13, the landowner turns to the workers that were hired at the beginning of the day and calls them friends. He says, friends. Don't forget that Jesus said, "I no longer call you my servants, but my friends, because you know the things that my Father has revealed to me." It's almost as if there's a special relationship that the landowner had with those workers that were hired at the beginning of the day. I think this parable exposes how sometimes we can lose our zeal for serving Jesus in simplicity for what he's done for us. And we can lose this perseverance we need in our hearts to reach the end of our road, the end of our race with him. Let us remember that the Lord will perfect that which concerns me, as it says in Psalms 138. And though we are called, we need to be chosen as well.